All right, y'all. We're back. We are back. We are back. Your girl cannot be successful today. Welcome to the channel. Hey, y'all. Oh my God, I miss you guys so much. As you make your way into the live, go ahead and drop a hello. Say hi to everybody, okay? Don't stalk us, okay? Do not stalk us over here. Say hello. It's been a struggle, okay? Trying to get to this point. I don't know what is going on, but my systems were not cooperating with me. But welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is Priscilla. I am a new flight attendant. Can I even say that anymore? Well, I am a flight attendant working with a major US airline company. And if you're not familiar with my channel, I have been sharing my flight attendant journey from start to finish, like right from applying to going for training to starting the job as a whole. And I generally just share my experience with you all. In today's live, it's been 6 months, y'all. It's been 6 whole months since I've been flying. It's been a good 6 months, and I'm just here to chit chat, you know. In the meantime, as you make your way through, I will be looking down here because that's where my screen is. So please bear with me, but we are on camera. Hopefully it stays that way because it's been a struggle, all right? But let me know if you can hear me. Drop a comment as you make your way into the the live today. Drop a comment. Say hello. Don't stalk us over here, okay? Don't be a stalker. Just say hello. Don't be shy. We don't bite. We promise. Oh my God. It's been 6 months. It has been 6 months. There's been a lot going on. Your girl has been all over the place. But we are here and we are representing live. Okay. This is definitely an impromptu live. Like, I was just feeling good, you know? I was simply feeling good, and I was like, you know what, let's pop in and say hi, hello to everybody else, okay? Let's just pop in, let's slide in real quickly and say hello to everyone. Once again, as you make your way to the live, go ahead and drop a comment, say hello, Muhammad, how are you? Just say hello. If you're new, I typically do these lives from time to time. It's just that I've been traveling a bit, so I haven't been able to be consistent with it as well. But if you do have any questions on how to become a flight attendant, feel free to drop it. If you want to know the real tea, want to know how I'm actually feeling, if it's actually as good as they make it seem, just let me know. I actually wanted to address this in this live because I had somebody drop a comment on the video that I did about flight attendant pay. This is like literally off topic, y'all. And I think they actually said that Daddy D is not actually paying their flight attendants $14,000 a month. And all I'm gonna say with that, I actually laughed at the comment because it's interesting, and I understand where the person is coming from and all, but I know, and the people that are making that amount do know. And I think that's all that matters, because it's either you believe it or not. Let me know if you can hear me in the comment section below, though. Please let me know that my sound is good, if you can hear me clearly, so I can fix anything if necessary. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, I've done the math, and the math is mathing. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I just saw a comment real quickly. It actually came up today. The comment was made today. And most people don't believe it, but if you actually look into our pay structure, like I've always said, our pay is very convoluted. There's so many components to it, and it's either you believe it or you don't. And the people that are earning it, people are making $6,000 every 2 weeks. So someone is making $6,000 2 weeks, $7,000 2 weeks. So it's a real thing, but it is what it is. But I don't earn it as a new flight attendant for sure, but if you've looked at our pay structure, you would know. But then again, you might not know because there's so many aspects to it. So certain parts might not be so public or whatever, or you see that these amounts sound so small and to you it doesn't add up, but it really does. That's all I gotta say. It really does. But yeah, welcome. Miss you all so much. Drop a comment. I know Herman and I think it was David, you all came through the earlier live. I had to redo it because technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on. I was too optimistic. Okay, I was too optimistic about this live. But yes, we are live, and it's been 6 months since I've been a flight attendant. It has been 6 whole months, y'all. Time has flown by so quickly. I am finally off of probation. All right, the eyes are no longer on me anymore. I am free like a bird. But just kidding. I am officially off of probation. I did my last meeting last month in October. Actually, I traveled to Accra, Ghana last month, and my meeting was literally on my day of return. So your girl has been busy, and I am back. Hello, Vernell. Hey. Hey, David. Yes, finally. Finally, your girl is back on. Okay, it's been a struggle, but yes, it's been 6 months of flying, and I just wanted to chit chat a bit, some of the things that I have learned now that my new higher glow has faded away. Now that the new higher glow has faded away, what is the true tea? What is the reality? But as I've always said, I'm here to share my experience. I know you all are always crazy and looking forward to the layovers, among other things, but that's something that I also do want to talk about also in today's live. So it's been 6 months. I have been flying. If you know the airline that I've been flying with, you already know who they are. We're talking about Daddy D here. I'm not a representative of any airline company. I am just here to share my experience with you all as an ordinary individual who has been doing this job for 6 months. So yes, oh, thank you so much, David. It's a new look. It's definitely a new look. I changed the hair. I did. It's still my own hair, but it's just in a different form now. I did lock my hair, so it's definitely a new look. I was looking for something that would give me a lot more freedom, and this is it for me right now. But yes, moving on. So quick backstory. I know you all have been seeing my videos and my journey from start to finish when I applied to become a flight attendant, my journey from the application to going for training, my very first flight, my very first time being on reserve or on call, my very first layover. Like, you guys have seen it all, but let me just give you all like a quick backstory on where I started or where I was coming from. So I'm originally from Ghana, Accra, Ghana, and I moved to the United States about 6 years ago. Before that, I had been in the United States for like 4 years, and I went back home, lived there for a while, schooled for a while. Then I moved back to the US, specifically Washington. Initially, I was in Texas, Houston, Texas to be specific. But when I came back 6 years ago, I moved here because my sister lived here, and I came to live with her. And I was done with college and everything, so it's more so like what the American dream, you know. But I moved here 6 years ago, and I had worked with like several companies from back to back. I've worked in the finance industry, I've done health, I've worked in several industries, retail, communication, like several. And the last job that I had prior to becoming a flight attendant was actually I was a manager at Amazon. I had actually reached the peak or the level that I wanted to reach when I was in college. You know, when you're in school and they ask you, hey, what do you want to be in the next 5 years or whatever, and during then I was like, you know what, I want to get to the point where I'm like a manager at top, like I'm part of the top level management in the company that I work for, managing a group of people, you know, just all that fluff. So I had actually attained that goal where I was a manager at Amazon, managing a group of individuals, or I had associates that I took care of, and it was all well and good, but I still did not feel fulfilled. I didn't feel like I had the freedom that I was looking for. And essentially during that moment, I already had another YouTube channel which was about my hair, which is literally my name, Prince. I changed it to like Scylla Studios, but it used to be like a hair channel where I was doing that. But when I started the job at Amazon as a manager, I barely had time to do anything at all. I was super stressed out. I wanted to travel. I wanted a job that gave me the flexibility to do when I want it, and I could not get that with that job. So then I decided that, hey, I do want to create travel content. Why not become a flight attendant? Or initially, I even started off with just working with an airline company, and then so that I can get the benefits that everybody talks about. But then I decided to become a flight attendant because the job in itself is traveling, and I did not mind that. So that's where everything started, y'all. So that's the backstory. That's where everything started, you know. And before I made the switch, you know, you get the naysayers who are like, you're going crazy, you have this job that's paying you well, you have this job security. And mind you, the job at Amazon came with stock options and everything. Like, it was the whole package deal, and it was pretty good, it was comfortable, but I wanted something more, you know. So that's where your girl ended up, okay? That's how I ended up with working with this airline company. And I chose Daddy D specifically because at the moment, it was the only United States airline that had a straight flight from the United States to Accra. And I was like, if I'm going to work with a company, I might as well work with a company that actually provides services to and fro the country where I'm originally from. So that's how come I ended up with Daddy D. No, nothing personal, nothing bias or anything, but that was just the reason why. I didn't really know much about the industry, and it honestly became apparent after I got involved in the industry that, like, it's so competitive. Like, everybody wants to be in the industry. A lot of people want to, I won't say everybody, a lot of people want to be in the industry. It's highly competitive. The interview process or the application process is cumbersome. It's a long road, and getting in, I heard people trying to do this for several years and not being able to get in either. So it quickly became apparent that, hey girl, like, you're in a spot here, okay? But yeah, that's where it all started. And fast forward to today, it's already been 6 months already since I got on the line. And how has it been? Honestly, like, honest truth, it's been good. It's been good, and I'm not capping. Like, this is not me, you know, trying to make things, you know, we're all about the honesty here. But then again, I'm a different individual. I've worked with so many companies, worked in different industries, have harder, easier jobs back to back. So I know how hard a job can be, and this is not one of those, if you get me. But in all, it's been good. It's been good. So before I move on to some of the few things that I have learned, I'm just going to check the comments section below to see if we have any comments. Hey Herman, yeah, the new look, the hair is looking good. How was your trip back to your hometown, and what lessons have you learned most so far since you've been on Daddy D? Okay, so the first thing I have learned, I'm gonna talk about food first, because I feel like it's honestly very important. Your well-being, your health is very, very important. And one thing I have learned 6 months in is that it is critical for you to meal prep. Like, and when I say meal prep, not picking up snacks or just like junk food, chips here and there. No, actual hot food meal prep. And I know this might seem complex or difficult, because unlike the normal or the typical 9 to 5, if it's lunchtime, you can literally leave your company premises and go get yourself some food, and then you're good to go, right? But 6 months in, being a flight attendant for 6 months now, I have grown to appreciate meal prepping and taking the food with me whenever I travel, because a lot can happen. Delays can happen. Things can come up, and your potential layover plans might get derailed. So you must always make sure you have food with you, not only snacks or cold food, but actual hot meals that you can reheat and eat. Because it's become apparent that when you get to that layover and you're exhausted, sometimes your rest might be super short, that it might not even give you the time that you need to actually go out and eat something. So it's always good to have food on you. So meal prepping is very critical. It also allows you to actually create like balanced meals. That way you're eating properly, because when you're on the go like that, you might get caught up in just eating a snack here or there, thinking that it's enough to sustain you. So meal prepping is very, very critical. And I feel like people get stressed more and tend to end up not liking the job because they're not eating well as well, because the nutrients, what you take in, plays a huge factor in your mood and how you're feeling in the moment and during the job as well. And I know if you're commuting, it's harder, but I have seen a commuter who actually packed really well for a 3-day trip. So it's definitely possible. So don't underestimate it. Just figure out what you like to eat, and plan ahead. I know it's hard to see that far ahead of time, but just know that once you have food and you're hungry, you're gonna eat that meal. So don't assume that, oh, I might not feel like eating this, or I might not feel like eating this. It's food. You're going to be hungry. Once you're hungry and food is available, you're eating that food. Okay, that's what it is. So if you're just popping in today's video or in today's live, I'm sharing my experience for being a flight attendant for the past 6 months. I was literally out of probation last month, and your girl is a free bird right now. It's a free bird. The other thing that I've also that has become apparent, or I would like to talk about, is our layovers. I know being a content creator or creating content around my job, it's more apparent because people would like to see the world through your eyes, essentially, or through your lens. And me going on layovers and sharing that experience, it's nice. Trust me, recording content is not easy. It is work, y'all. It is real work. For real. It is real work. So doing that in addition to the job that I'm actually doing sometimes becomes a lot. And personally, I know that during the 6 months, I got to the point where my layovers actually became my rest time. And also, based on the type of trips or rotations that I was picking up, I was not necessarily getting longer layover time, because typically, let me say this, typically the trips with the longer layovers are not worth much unless it's an international trip, as using the term international loosely. That's the reality. So let's say I want to go to Honolulu from Seattle, for example. Or even Hawaii, anywhere in Hawaii. It's worth about 12-hour credit, right, for 2 days. But depending on the way the trip is set up, honestly, if you ask me, I would say it's a 3-day trip because of how the trip is set up. But that's an argument for another day. But the whole point is that going anywhere in Hawaii, for example, the beach layover, it is fun, it is exciting, but the credit is not worth that much. So me, during that 6 months, my goal was to work as many high credit trips as possible so that I can minimize the amount of flying that I'm doing throughout the month, forced me or leaned me towards working trips with shorter layovers. So I was getting trips with like 15, 16, 17, 18-hour layover hours, and those hours are not like enough for you to actually get a good amount of rest and then be able to explore the city. If I don't know if I'm making sense, let me know in the comment section if I'm making sense with regards to that. So that's the reason why you all did not necessarily see a lot of videos of me going out on my layovers. And sometimes the rotation combinations that I had like by the time I get to the place where I'm going to, it's pretty late or it's too early to do anything as well. But overall, one thing I have learned, and somebody actually said this to me on my very last trip, and it went home. He was like, when they started, a senior person told them that layovers are not dates, in the sense that when you go on your layover, you choose what you want to do on your layover. If you're a new flight attendant, don't be pressured into doing anything extravagant on your layover, because mind you, although you're being paid while you're laying over, the pay you're getting is not a significant amount to make a difference in life, unless everything you get throughout the month adds up and it becomes so. But realistically, the food you're getting, if you're taking transportation, like all those expenses is literally money out of the money you're making from being on that trip as a whole. So just keep that in mind. I create content about my job, so I'm forced to do stuff, or I have to do stuff just to show people, the job and the realities of the job and stuff like that. So I like to explore the city so I can document that experience. But as an individual, know that you're not obligated to do so. Just because you're a flight attendant doesn't mean that you should be out there spending your money on your layover simply because you want to show people that you're out and about enjoying the world. Even if you do, try the free options. Yes, try the free options. So yeah, takeaway, layovers are not dates. You can do you. You don't have to do anything with your crew members. Don't also expect your crew members to do anything with you, because they are not dates, okay? They are layovers. Let me just check the comment section real quickly. Right now, I would definitely respond to your questions for sure. David says you wanted to know more and you've got it now. You finally found your true passion and you are absolutely living it to the full. Exactly, David. Like, I feel so good because at my previous job, I always felt stressed. I always felt tired. it wasn't a bad job in the sense that if you're like in your if you're 21, 22, it's definitely a good experience. But for me, I felt like I got to the point where I got what I wanted, and it no longer made sense anymore. Plus, managing people, oh my God, be thankful for your managers out there, okay? Because it is not easy dealing with people and managing people. Like, it is not, especially when your team members are so negative and so toxic. It's just, and the whole company as a whole, like, I'm traumatized. Don't take me back there. I refuse to go back there. But, but yeah, thank you so much, David, for the food. You're smashing. Thank you, David. Thank you. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm thoroughly enjoying this experience, and I know most people might think that, oh, you're probably fronting. It's not so. I mean, no job is completely easy. Like, no job is perfect, but when you find, I've always said, you have to find your why and why you decided to do what you want to do, and see the benefit in it for you, and that should keep you going. That should be a good reminder of why you're doing this, and then you can enjoy it from there. Herman says, and you have learned how to work. Yes, the scheduling system requires a level of understanding and a lot of try and error. And I feel like as a new flight attendant, when you do start, it's going to be overwhelming when you start off, but just take it easy and just know that it's a work in progress, and the more you do, the more you learn. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to experiment with your schedule. Essentially, you have to be willing to do so. So don't be shy. Like, you have to be willing to do so for sure. And yeah, that's it. So it's definitely working out. Herman says, isn't it true that C has turned out to be good? Yes. So Seattle as a base, for me, I would forever say this, especially when you're new to the industry. It's honestly, to me, the best place one of the best bases to start off as a new flight attendant, because of the credit values of the trip. The credit value essentially influences or impacts your pay. So the higher the credit of the trip rotation, the higher you're earning essentially. So the reason why I say Seattle is good is because as a new flight attendant, for the most part, you might not get the trips that you want. You might not get the best trips. However, you will, I wouldn't say certainly, because I can't say anything so definite and so generalized in a sense, but Seattle is set up such that because of the geography of the base, we have like really high credit trip combinations. So as a new flight attendant, somebody who was not used to flying, like, I flew more in a day than I did in like 6 years. So that's how intense and how drastic. That's why people would also say that this job is a huge lifestyle change, because it is a huge lifestyle change. So once that happened, my goal was, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to have to fly too much. I want to get as many days off in a month as possible and still earn a good amount of income to sustain myself. That was my goal. And where Seattle came through making me successful was because there were high credit trips, even for me as a new hire. I can remember that it was the last time I worked a 3-day trip that was worth 15 hours, 16 hours, was literally my first month when I had no control. I didn't bid for anything. I couldn't bid for anything. That was the only time. Ever since then, unless I pick it up myself, whenever I had bid or when I figured out how to bid for my schedule, I would always bid for high credit trips, because I wanted as much, because you're already not going to be scheduled a lot. Our schedule values are usually like 80 plus or minus 7 hours or something like that. So potentially the minimum you can be scheduled for will be 73 hours, right? And then the maximum will be 87. So you're not getting scheduled a lot. However, when you do bid for high credit trips, it forces the system to give you high credit trips. So if I get a 3-day trip that's worth 20 hours, then it's good. So then it takes up a chunk of the schedule value that I'm initially supposed to be scheduled for. So that's why I love Seattle, because as a new flight attendant, fine, the layovers on those trips were probably short, not enough for me to record myself enjoying my layovers or share that experience, but it allowed me to adjust and adapt smoothly. So if you are new and you're going through flight attendant training and you are with Daddy D and Seattle is available, if you don't live there, then obviously it's going to be hard, because the standard of living here in Seattle is hard. And if you're commuting back and forth, expenses, like all things being equal, if you live in Seattle and Seattle is available, I know you might be tempted to go for New York, because I know you will, because New York is the place to be. However, if you're starting off, I would definitely wholeheartedly suggest Seattle, because it allowed me to adjust and adapt smoothly. There is a con though, so I would definitely get to that point for sure. There is a con, but if you want to adapt smoothly, Seattle is the place to go for sure. And the credits are amazing, because if I can consistently hold over 20-hour credit trips that are not international, literally domestic trips, and I'm not even doing the most on those trips, I'm not even doing 4-leg days or anything, then you know that it's a good place to be. The same for New York too. That's the advantage that New York has. New York has a very good diverse trip roster. Like from New York you go anywhere in the world, you know. However, they equally are also far apart from the West Coast, that allows them to also have like good domestic trip rotations as well. So that's you got it. Something's got to give. But I personally chose Seattle because I lived in Seattle and I was not ready to commute or move anywhere else. However, if Seattle was not available and only New York and let's say Detroit, or it was New York, Detroit, and MSP that were available, I probably would have gone with MSP, because I knew somebody that lived there, so I knew if I had to commute, I could get support from there. But let's say I had to choose between Boston and New York, I would have chosen New York. If I had to choose between Atlanta and New York, I would have chosen New York. If I had to choose between Detroit and New York, I would have chosen New York, essentially. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so that's it with that, with regards to Herman's question about the base. And what else do we have? So if you're just jumping into the live, I am sharing my experience for being a flight attendant for the past 6 months. It's been 6 months now. I am currently off of probation. And Amy has a question. Advice prepping for training. I got a CJO from your company at the end of October. Haven't gotten to training yet. Yay! Congratulations! Congratulations. It's definitely a big deal. Let me know how the event day experience was for you, because mine was really good. But prepping for training, I do have a full video on my channel under my live video tab, or how to become a flight attendant playlist, where I share with you what I took for training. One thing I will say is that when you do watch that video, I overpacked. So everything I took was good, but I sent way too much. Like I took too much of everything, essentially. But then that's just me. But my advice for prepping for training is just get ready. Honestly, I've had people trying to ask me what the content was about, what to expect content-wise, but it's not necessary. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, I had never been in the industry. I knew nothing about the airline industry. I knew nothing about this job from the get-go. But you knowing what aircrafts you're going to be trained on won't make any difference. The content for training in itself is not difficult. It's just a condition. It's the fact that you're away from home. You're in a hotel the whole time. You're not able to cook your own meals. You're not eating from home. You're eating out for the most part. So it's just the conditions that you're put in that makes it feel some way, or makes it feel stressful, or gets you in a way that you just don't feel like yourself, essentially, or makes it feel difficult. But the content in itself is not hard. My best advice for training is just to get the stuff that you need. Make sure you have everything from stain remover to the shirts. You should receive an email that would tell you what to bring. Read the prospectus left from start to finish. Figure out the attire, the uniform, and just stick to that. When you do go for training, just follow instructions. Training is not the time to go do whatever you want per se. You do want to feel free. You do want to enjoy the experience, but training is not the time to do what you want. Just listen to instructions. And one thing I will say is, if you haven't gotten your training date yet, keep an eye on your email. Whatever background documentation you need to submit, whatever process they tell you to go through it as quickly as possible, because the sooner you go through the admin stuff, the sooner you get a date, essentially. So definitely go through and check your emails for sure, because there were people that I got my CGO with, and I ended up going to training ahead of them because I responded quickly. Exactly. So definitely keep that in mind. But I do have a full video where I show you the things that I packed for training from start to finish. And I did talk about the expectations or the perspectives that I received, telling me the things that I should bring as well. So definitely check it out. It's under my lives tab on my channel, or in the playlist of all my flight attendant videos, or how to become a flight attendant as well. David, I've managed people in the past. They killed me. I just know what you're saying. I'm telling you. Oh my God. Because I go with the positive energy, you know, ready to conquer the world. And then it's just, it was not adding up. So definitely, yeah, no. Any other flight attendants here? Yeah, definitely. I think Emmy is about to be, but it's been fun. I've enjoyed working with my crew members too, so it's been great for sure. But then again, everybody has had the experience. Sometimes the energy you give is the energy you get, so who knows. But moving on, if you're just jumping in, I am sharing my experience so far for being a flight attendant for the past 6 months. And moving on to point 3, yes, being a flight attendant is definitely a lifestyle change. And before I became a flight attendant, I would hear people say it, and to me it always sounded so dramatic, but but it is true. It's a lifestyle change. Like you think different, you feel different. Like it's a whole change. It's definitely not a typical 9 to 5. You can make it that way though, because in August, as I shared my experience, in August, the first week of August, I did my reserve for 6 days straight. And then, what is this hair doing? Okay. And then I did that. Then following that, every week I worked between 3 to 4 days, and I had about 3 to 4 days off as well. So I definitely built that structure. But it's not automatic. You definitely have to put in the work to get your schedule to look the way you want it. And that's where the flexibility comes in. But it's definitely a lifestyle change. You have to figure out how to meal prep. You have to figure out how to take food with you wherever you go, and also take food that are heavy nutrient based, like healthy, so you can actually take care of yourselves, because you're stuck with people on an aircraft breathing recycled air, so you're exposed to so many germs, and you're meeting people from all over the place, all over the world. You don't know what they're carrying or what they're bringing on board, so you have to make sure you're taking your vitamins, you're drinking water, staying hydrated, and taking care of yourself. So that's why most of the time you would notice that some flight attendants, once they, or maybe they were doing this, but then typically they do take lifestyle as an exercise and working out, taking vitamins, eating right. Like that habit becomes part of their lifestyle because it's necessary for your survival at this point. So it's definitely a huge lifestyle change. And I always used to think that people were so dramatic whenever they would say that, but it's become apparent that that's true. So it definitely is. The other thing also is that you're not getting paid fully for your time. I know that it has a very high pay rate, which is great and amazing, but I think, let me put it this way, that high pay rate, when you actually break it down and you look at the reality of it, it's high because it has to be high to make up for all the other time that you're not getting compensated properly. I don't know if that makes sense. So let me give an example. Whenever we're boarding, right, we get boarding pay now. But boarding pay is a fixed amount. It's like a premium. It's a premium pay. It's not your regular flight pay. It's like a specific fixed amount. It obviously varies based on how long you've been with the company. However, it's just that one payment. So it's not like you're accruing boarding pay every minute, every hour, every second. No. If you boarded an aircraft, then you get paid that amount. Whether the boarding process took 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you're getting paid that amount. That's what that is, a fixed pay. So essentially, once we're done boarding, right, and we're like sitting there, and the aircraft door is open, and the aircraft is still attached to the jetway or whatever, and we're sitting there, we're done boarding, but for whatever reason, maybe the gate agent or whoever is supposed to get paperwork hasn't gotten paperwork, we're waiting for fuel, something, captain is not here, the FO is not here, whatever the reason may be, that we're sitting there with the aircraft still attached to the jetway, you're not getting paid during that time. You're not. And even in the past, there was no boarding pay. So imagine, the hardest part of the job, which is boarding, was when people were not getting paid for. And now that we are getting paid, it's not your actual flight time. So if my hourly pay as a new flight attendant is $34 and whatever, or $33, whatever, I can't even remember now. But whatever it is, when you're boarding, you're not getting paid that pay. So that's why, to me, I feel that people are always pushing for that higher pay and we getting paid the higher pay. It's because there are, like, think of it like there are moments when your time is being taken or used or utilized, but you're not getting compensated for it. But because of how high the base pay is, it kind of in a way makes up for it. The reason why I think that way and the reason why I see it that way was because when I used to be a manager, think of it as being a salaried employee. I think that's the best. We're not salaried. Well, I guess that doesn't work either. The point I'm making is that when I used to be a salaried employee, right, the way my pay was structured was such that it's prorated to cover a certain amount of hours, right? So if I was expected, if my pay was to cover 173 hours every month and I was working 140, 150, 160 every month, I'm still getting the same pay. But the months where I ended up doing 200 hours, I didn't get any extra pay for that. So it's similar to that in a sense. So that's the reason. That's one thing that's become apparent. It is true, but then again, if you depend on how you work your schedule and the kind of work you do, you can control that in a sense, or you can, to an extent, minimize the opportunity of that happening as well. But one way or the other, as I said in my pros and cons video, once you're working for an organization, one way or the other, you're going to get the shorthand of the stick, and you might as well just start your own business at this point. Yeah, that's another reality as well. Vanel says, always eat food with magnesium in it to keep your sleep balanced and help you sleep good. Yes, that is definitely true. And for me, I honestly do not have issues with sleeping. Once I'm tired, I'm going to bed. Once I'm tired enough, your girl is sleeping. So definitely a good advice right there. Only thing about New York is the weather in the winter times. That's definitely so true, y'all. And that's another good thing about Seattle, because during summer, when the East Coast was always having storms here and there, it was beautiful on our side. Like whenever I would fly out, I go into chaos, and then when I come back to peace and serenity. So even though our summers are very short, they are amazing. And it makes it good because summer is one of the busiest times in this industry. So you're able to work a lot more if you want to. And there's hardly any issues that actually affect us as a base. However, obviously, if I do fly to Atlanta and there's a storm there, it's going to impact my schedule in a way. However, if I'm able to make it out of Atlanta and I'm coming back, it's pretty good on our side. So, and then winter, it gets bad too as well. But yeah, if you want good trips, if you want to explore the world, New York is definitely the place to be for sure. Meg, what is your base seniority looking like at 6 months? So with regards to seniority, they did a huge hiring spree in the month that I started, and I came almost towards the end of that hiring spree. So ever since I've been there for 6 months, my seniority has gone up by almost 500 people. Yeah, because I started off at, I can't even remember where I started off. I started off at 25 something. Yeah, I can't even remember anymore, but I've been bumped up by 500 people. So because of the huge hiring spree that happened, and I do know people that have been there for a year that have been bumped up by almost their seniority number has really gone up. So imagine if they were like, they're now somebody who's a year in is now at maybe 19,000 when there's like 27,000 of us and they've only been here for a year. I don't know if that makes sense. So there's 27,000 of us right now, or there's a flight attendant out there literally with a seniority number of 27,000, whatever. And there's somebody who's been here for a year who is now at 19,000. So I hope that gives you a better perspective of that, Meg. Thanks for the question. Also, Emmy, thank you. The event day was so fun. I know, right? Everyone there was incredibly nice and friendly. And honestly, that is a true reflection. Obviously, in every company, there are people that are negative with negative energy, which I'm going to talk about as well. But whatever you experience there, you will continue to experience it to a large extent. But obviously, nothing is perfect. So, but yeah, I had so much fun too. I felt so good when I went through that event day, because when I was even going through the event day, because for me, typically at the time when I was going for this interview, I was not ready to go back to work, or because I had already quit my job at Amazon. And even if I was ready to go back to work, I wasn't ready to go back to work right away. So I was so happy that my training was like March of the following year, while I was interviewing November of the year before. But when I was going through the process, when I got invited into the event day, I wasn't really sure if I really wanted to do this or not. Like, you know, when you're just interviewing for interviewing's sake, just to have a job on hand, you know, because I had never been without a job. So it was kind of weird just taking a break from working. So I just wanted to have something just in case I needed work to do. But after I got through those doors for that event day, the whole vibe changed. I was like, you know what? I am getting my CJO today. And that's on that, period. Because of the energy. It was just so good. It was just so good. Renelle says, for training, take everything black for your clothes, black for your bottom and pants, skirts, and blazers. Definitely, it's easier to dress up black and dark colors for sure. But they will definitely give you send you an email telling you what the expectations are. Do follow instructions, y'all. Keep it simple. The other thing I will say is the attire that you do wear for your training is what you're going to wear the most. So during my time, it was just like white shirts and black pants or a black dress or whatever. So I bought like 6 white shirts. I think I had 6 or 7. So yeah, and those white shirts you can actually continue to use when you get on the line, because our uniform has a white shirt part of it, and you're allowed to wear a colored white shirt as part of our uniform. It doesn't have to be the one provided by the company. So those will not go to waste. So if you do invest money in buying those white shirts, it won't go to waste. If you buy like an actual dress colored white shirt, yeah, it won't go to waste for sure. Herman says, is boarding pay half a credit rate? It's not necessarily half a credit rate. It's just like a premium fixed pay. So let's say the company has decided that if you've been here from 0 to 6 months, your boarding pay is, let's say, $10. That's what it is. So it's not necessarily based on your pay per se or half of your pay or whatever. It's just like a fixed amount, and it varies based on the number of years you've been with the company, if that makes sense. That's why I always say our pay structure is just interesting, and when people doubt how much people are actually earning. And the funny thing is that the people that are earning really well or earning those high amounts don't talk about it. That's the thing. They don't talk about it. But if you do the math and you think about it critically, people are making really good money out here in the streets. Like, it's just that when you're starting off, it's bad. When you're starting off, it's hard. Like, it's good. I mean, for me, I live within my means. I'm good, but it's hard depending on where you're starting from. If you're already starting with debt, you're going to be struggling for a while, you know? Joy says, hi love, love your channel. Thank you. Eat seaweed for Aiden. This words of harmful effect. It is from the radiation and everything. But for me, my mentality is I'm gonna die anyway, so I might as well live life and enjoy life, because it might sound a bit morbid or negative, but at the end of the day, think about it. Like, flying is still the safest way to travel, and I know that me being on the aircraft up in the sky, I'm closer to the sun than everybody else, obviously. But my thought is that life is going to end anyway. I might as well just enjoy it, And that's why you also have to get to the point where you're not overflying, because there are people that will jam pack their schedule so much, because if you're not giving your body time to recover, that has a negative effect as well. So even though you're exposed to all this, you also have to give your body time to recover from all that as well. So that's definitely true, Joy. Thanks for that. Thank you for loving the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. I do appreciate you all. Once again, if you're jumping in, I have been flying for 6 months, y'all. Your girl is out of probation. I'm sharing my experience so far. Drop a comment as you make your way into the live as well. David, wow, you soon be a senior mama. That's the goal. Honestly, all I care about is the flexibility that I get, and at least getting something close to what I want, And I do have something to share towards the end of this live as well. So keep watching and stay tuned. Some changes that I do plan on making as well, based on the experience that I've had so far. So this is going to be a long one. So get your popcorn, get your snacks, get something to drink, Meg says 80%. Oh, really? That's really good, with similar times. So I was just curious how the seniority was moving in C. I'm considering transferring out to the West. It's definitely pretty good, but if you're looking for like diverse layover destinations, we don't really have a lot over there. It's more so Asia, and even with Asia, we're not doing a lot in Asia, honestly. If you ask me, we can definitely do more. So, and then we do Hawaii as well. But the way the Hawaii trip is built, it's a 2-day, but honestly, if you ask me, once I'm working into another day, it's part of the trip, so it's got to be a 3-day. But the way our rotation is built, is considered a 2-day. So for me, Hawaii's are not worth it unless I'm actively trying to get like a vacation, a paid vacation or something. That's when it's worth it. But we don't really have diverse layover destinations. So, but then I personally love Seattle. It's very chill. It's very subtle. Like, you don't have to do the most. Everybody here minds their business. The airport is easy to navigate, and the crew members have been great so far. Obviously, there are some bad nuts here and there. Nowhere is perfect, but overall, in general, as a new person, I have felt welcomed, and I felt like everybody was great and the base was good. But if you're looking, it depends. If you're looking to just make money and just mind your business, Seattle is the place to be, and you don't care about where you fly to. You're not hungry for like international travel, using international loosely, or TOs or whatever, then Seattle is a place to be. But if you really want to go international, if you want to go to Amsterdam, you want to go to London, you want to go to Paris, you want to go to Rome, you want to go to Greece, you want to go to like, if you want to go to, like, you even want to go to South America, all that, you want to go to Africa and all those things, the East Coast is better. Places like New York or even Atlanta is better. So you just have to just figure out what you want, Meg, and then decide on that. So like I said, if you don't care where you travel to, as long as you're making good money, because I have been doing mostly domestic trips and I've been earning pretty well. So keep that in mind as well. And the reason why I would consider moving to New York, because of the trips that are there, the trips that are there. That's the reason why. So I guess it is what it is. But yeah, definitely consider it. I love Seattle. Seattle is great. I love it. Like, I'm so glad I started here for sure. And the base has been good as well. My manager has been great too, in case he's watching this. In case you're watching this, you've been amazing too. Vernell, save money before you apply for the job. Exactly. Yes, that is super, super true, because you're going to need it. When you're going for flight attendant training, some companies don't pay you at all. They only give you like a stipend or a meal card or a meal ticket or whatever. Our company does pay us. However, it's the minimum wage of Atlanta, Georgia. And if you do look up the minimum wage of Atlanta, Georgia, you would know that it is like, I think, half of the minimum wage of Seattle, I think. Like, it's nothing to write home about. So definitely save money. I had money saved because of what I used to do. I was already saving up and all that. So I didn't struggle. When I came out of training, I didn't have any debt. I just continued with my life like normal. And because of that, I wasn't also pressed to work so much or fly so much just to catch up. So I didn't have to play catch up in any way. I'm not saying I was a rich girl or anything, but I was set up such that I could continue to live life as normal, be able to take care of myself. So definitely save money before you even start applying or start to go for the job. Because mind you, I stopped working. I quit my job in November, at the end of November 2022. That's when I stopped working. And I got the CGO and everything by the end of November. However, my training date was March of 2023. March 13th or something of 2023. So it was like several months of not working. But personally, I wanted a break from working, so I was okay with it. And I saved enough to sustain myself throughout that break while I was in training and even out of training, because your first few months, you won't earn that much, especially if you're not used to flying. If you're a previous flight attendant, then you can just hit the ground running because you've done this before. But somebody like me who had not done this before, I could not just start doing multiple legs, doing the most, you know, so I had to take it easy for sure. So definitely think about that. Save money, put money away, have money that can pay your bills for at least 3 months after you quit your job. So let's say your training date, let me give this example. Let's say your training date is set for January 1st, right? No, your training date is set for February or March. Let's say March. Make sure you have money saved to pay your bills in January, February, March when you're in training, April, and possibly May. So about 5 months, because you don't know what's going to happen. When you start the job, when you start flying so much, you might be exposed to more germs your body is used to. You might not be used to flying so much, so you can't pick up more trips to make more money. And you might be at a base where your trips are not worth that much, because somebody in New York working in London is worth what, 15 hours, I think. Somebody in Seattle working in London is worth over 20 hours. So there's a difference there. So keep that in mind as well. Definitely save money. So that's definitely a really good advice for now. You have to have money saved for your bills to take care of yourself, because that adds on to the stress. Then you go to work angry, you're pissed off, you're stressed out, your crew don't like you don't like your crew, then everybody's just angry at that point. And you do not want that. So keep that in mind. Once again, if you're popping in, my name is Princella. I am a new Seattle-based flight attendant working with a major US airline company. I've been flying for 6 whole months, y'all. 6 months. I've been flying for 6 months, and I'm currently sharing my experience with y'all. This is going to be a long live, so grab some popcorn, grab a drink or something, because we're having a moment here, okay? Also, once you come in, like the video, tap on like the video. We're not here to play. Don't stalk us. Just like the video and say hello, okay? Herman says, walk us through how you check in. Check in for work, if that's what you mean. Checking in is very easy. I just have to get to the airport. It's geolocation driven or whatever, so you have to be at a certain part of the airport before you can check in for work. That's basically it. It's nothing really difficult. It's very simple, and it's easy to catch on if you're new as well, unless you mean checking in like me going on a trip or something. David says, got my popcorn and a shaky glass of red wine. Let's party. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for entertaining us this evening. It's been like having a night out. I know. I did not come to play. It's been a moment, so I had to pop in, and just say hi, just pop in and pop out. But yeah. So moving on to the next point. I already talked about not getting fully paid for your time, for sure. But that's like any job. When I worked at my other job, I also felt I was being underpaid. Honestly, unless you have your own business, it's bound to happen one way or the other. So for me, my tip would be enjoy your benefits. Take advantage of any benefits you're supposed to get out of the job, because think about it this way: your compensation package, right, includes your insurance through your company, your health benefits, your travel benefits, any bonuses you're getting before your base pay or whatever your income is. So all that is part of your compensation package. So let's say your income for the year is projected to be $40,000 a year. when you add your health benefits, your insurance, or any other benefits the company is giving you, it might put your how much the company is spending on you to about 60,000 or 70,000. So to them, they're giving you 70,000 a year because your compensation is not only your income, your benefits are a part. So as a flight attendant, if you have travel benefits, use it. If your family members can use it, because it's all part of it. Is part of your pay as a whole. Okay, so always keep that in mind. Like the video, like the video. Okay, you gotta like the video. Don't stalk us. So yeah, just think about the pay that way as well. Vernell says you're getting commercials now. I have in the middle of your live. YouTube started that in November, and it's added to it. Yeah, it does. That's the best part of it, and that's the reason why I actually started this job, because of the flexibility that it gives me to do something else. Because when I was working at Amazon, I wasn't able to do so. So doing this job gives me the flexibility. Like this month, I have days off that I can pick and choose more trips if I want. So I'm still thinking about it though, I'm still thinking about it. But one thing I will add is that being 6 months in, it's never fixed. Like your schedule might be great one month, or your month might be great one time, the following month it might not be. But just understand that there are better days, so don't dwell on the bad days for too long. Dwell on it, but not too long. What's the other point? Vernell says you can do side work, exactly, before you go to training, especially if it starts in March, because this is the time, this is the Christmas Eve season of work available everywhere. Exactly. And even because when you're in training, it might be hard. It's hard for you to do any other job when you're in training. You can't do anything, honestly, because it takes up all your time. Like my class was the early morning class, and I had to report. The class started at 6 a.m. So I had no time to do anything else. By the time I leave, it's too late. I'm too tired, so you can't do anything during that 7 weeks. It's not 7 weeks. You can't do anything during that. So before you go, you can wait till the very last minute before you quit your job for sure. Or if you do quit early before you start your job, you can do something on the side as well. But once you get on the line, especially if you live at base, it's so easy to do something on the side. Like, I'm not going to lie to you all. Like, it's so easy to do something on the side. If like, you can make it work for you. I'm not here to sugarcoat it or make it sound easy, because some people are struggling out there, but you can make it work for you for sure. Yeah, definitely. And the next point that I do want to share is being in the industry for 6 months, or working with people or other crew members for the 6 months, is the negative energy. Like I personally, I kind of sort of match people's energy, except for when it's negative. If it's negative, I just remove myself. So I just shut down and then let you do whatever you want to do with the negative energy. And because I need to protect my mental, I need to protect my space. So that's it for me. But you would definitely come across people with very negative energy who hate the company, hate everything about the company, can't stand the job, and yet they've been doing it for 20 years. They've been doing it for 25 years. Personally, if I hate something, I step out. Like, if I hated this job, I would have been out, like out. Like, I don't waste time, because personally, I feel like life is too short. And why would I want to give my life to a company, or give my time to a company that I hate? I'm not doing that. Maybe it's a young people thing. Maybe it's people, and maybe it's those of us who were born in the 90s or the 2000s or whatever. But personally, I have never been that person. If I don't like the company, or if I feel like I'm not getting the growth that I need, I'm gone. I'm not wasting time. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to waste my time. So you would meet people that have negative energy, have all the negative things to say about the company they're working for, the job they're doing, all the negative stuff. Nobody's saying any job is perfect. But if you have somebody who's willing to dwell on it to the extent that that's all they want to talk about, then I ask myself, why are you here? Why have you been here why are you still here? Even if it's just a year, why are you still here? Because I don't waste time. When I started my job at Amazon, like 2 months in, I knew this could not be my life anymore. 2 months in, I knew like, I gotta go. I knew I had to go. But I was like, you know what? Let's give it time. Let's try it out. Collectively, I was with the company for over a year and a half, but specifically for the role that I had, I did it for like 8 months. And I was like, you know what? This can't be the way. I need a break. Let me reset. That's when I quit. I didn't have any job before I quit. So you're going to meet people with negative energy, and it would be draining and exhausting. I would always say, just always have in mind or keep in mind your why you decided to do this job. What is the benefit in this job for you? Because if you have and you stand firm in that, nothing can derail you. Because for me, if you hate something so much, or something is super, super bad that it's not good at all, you should not be here. Just leave. But if you're still here, it means you as an individual, you also you're gaining something from this, or you've identified a benefit from this job that's still keeping you here. Because I cannot see myself working for a company for 30 years and hating it the whole time. That's too exhausting. I'm gonna get too much, like it's too exhausting. So you would definitely meet negative people. You would meet people who've had negative experience and they would want to share it with you. But even if you hear something negative about somebody, using that as an example, experience the person first. And I was talking about this with one of my crew members who's my friend. Shout out to Ty. I worked with him recently. I plan on definitely posting a short of a photo of him and I. Cool guy, love him to death. Like, he's amazing. And I was just talking about this with him, and it was more so like, oh, I even forgot. I mentioned his name and I forgot. Oh my God, we were just talking about this. I think it had to do with just working with people that you've heard. Because, let me say this. This is another point. I'm gonna combine it. Let me say this. News travels so fast. Like, I have never worked in an industry or in a job where news travels as quickly as this job. Like, if you represent yourself in any negative way, or even a good way, in any way, shape, or form, somebody else is gonna hear about it. Somebody is going to hear about it. Like, somebody will know. So you have to be extremely careful when you're interacting with people. I'm not saying be fake. If you're honestly just a rude person, that's on you. But the point I'm trying to make is that if somebody experiences you and feels that experience was negative, in this industry, it travels really fast. In this job, it travels really fast. But you as an individual, my advice to you is that experience that person for yourself. So let's say Herman is at Seattle. He's a crew member. He's a flight attendant. Vernell is a flight attendant. David is a flight attendant. We all work in the same industry, same base, or even if it's a different base, like wherever it is that we're working, we are all flight attendants, right? And Herman has a bad experience with David, for example. And that information starts to travel that, David has this. Me as a new flight attendant, or me not having worked with David before, my advice to you is to try and work with this individual at least one time, because sometimes the energy you give is the energy you receive. So if that person did not gel well with you and did not like something about you, they probably might have returned the same energy in kind like that. So that's why for me, I would want to experience you just to get a feel. I'm not going to assume that because everybody else or some people are saying you're bad, it means I'm taking their word for it and that's what it is. I would want to experience you as well, just to get first-hand experience of you. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't assume that because somebody had a bad experience with them, you're going to do the same thing. And when you do experience them, don't be on guard. Don't be defensive. Just give them the benefit of the doubt. That would greatly help you, because I don't want to go to work and be anxious trying to figure out who I'm going to be working with, who they are. This is what I heard somebody said they did, so that's what it's going to be. No, you don't want to go to a job thinking that way. So definitely keep that in mind as well. But negative energy does exist. You would have people who hate the job, hate the pay, hate the layovers, hate the fact that they can't get certain trips, hate the fact that people get the like it's definitely there. But for me, I don't really care. I've worked with so many people, different kinds of people from all over the place. Like, I mean, I won't say nothing can break me, but I think it's just my outlook in life is that I've had harder jobs. Like, I've been in harder circumstances, and this is not it. And if you don't like something, leave, because if I don't like it, I would leave. So if you're still here, then clearly there's something good. So I need to find out what that is. So I'm going to stay for that. But don't let any negative energy mess with your mood. Just be positive. Just be nice. I know there are going to be moments when you just want to remove yourself and not want to have that interaction or whatever. But have your moment, okay? Have your moment. Joy says, hi, is the hiring manager you had on the event day the same manager you have now at your base? Your YouTube channel is the best. Thank you so much, Joy. I tried because when I was going through, first of all, when I was going through my hiring process to become a flight attendant, after doing my research, I noticed how crazy things were, like how a lot things were, and the fact that all the people that I watched so many videos consistently. It was hard for me to find something that was like all put together, and that's because of how the process is. So it's no fault to the people that were creating the content, but me noticing that and me having the time that I had, because I stopped working months before I went for training, so I had time to actually go through the process, document the process, and share it. So that's why my channel is the way it is, because I have the time. But most people are literally in the middle of working for another airline and they're trying to move to this airline, you know, so it's hard to share, or in the middle of a tough time or a difficult moment in their life and they're trying to get a new job, so it's hard for them to share. But for me, I had the luxury of having time and the ability to document the process, so that's why. And my goal was to make it easy, so when you come to my channel, you have access to everything from start to finish, giving you a better understanding of the process and what to expect as well. But the hiring manager from the event day, so the hiring team is completely separate from your base leadership as well. There are specific people that are picked up or added on to that group, so there's a whole team for that. So my base manager is totally different from the hiring manager. Those are completely separate entities altogether. But the event day, it's like, it was good, and you would get the same experience also when you do go for training. It's just that you're going to have like longer days or longer nights, and it's going to be stressful, but still enjoy the moment, enjoy all the fun experience that you get out of it. Because I know in my class there were moments when in the morning before the start of class we would do like a safety moment where we exercise or stretch a bit, and there was one moment where we had like a whole dance off. We're playing music and people were just dancing and twerking. It was just so funny. But moments like that made the whole process exciting. As stressful and as tiring as it was, there were some beautiful moments as well. And take photos. I had instructors that would take, like my training video week 3 when I was in the water, like the ditching day when I was in the water or jumping out of the aircraft into the water. That picture or those pictures were taken by my instructor because they knew how important this process was and wanted to help us document the moment. So if you get instructors like mine, they took photos of us in moments in between when we're doing activities here and there, because they wanted us to remember the moment and to have some sort of documentation or record of it. So it was fun. And definitely whenever you get an opportunity to take a photo, or if they say it's okay to take a photo, because when I look back on those photos, it's refreshing and I enjoy it. So definitely. Herman says they never turn down pay. They never turned down the paycheck though. That's true. Definitely. Absolutely. Everyone starts out A+. Definitely. All right, Vernell, everyone doesn't gel well with everybody. You have to test people for yourself. That's true. Everybody's energy is different, and some people just, because the same friend that I was talking about actually experienced another person who, for whatever reason, had been put on record for being not a good person or whatever to work with. But they experienced this individual and they had the most pleasant experience too. So you never know. But I was glad I got that from my friend, because it was like, oh, okay, so it's actually true. Because if he could go experience that, then it means you definitely have to give people the opportunity to prove themselves to you or show themselves to you, you know? David says, negativity breeds negativity, but never forget that positivity also breeds positivity. Therefore, keep smiling and keep an open mind. Perfect. I couldn't have said it any better. That's period. That's what it is. It's true. So if you're going to be negative and you allow that negativity, or you can contribute to that negativity, it's going to stay. But if you keep your positive on, we're good to go. Talia Joseph, what was the face-to-face like? Can you talk more about that? Were the questions difficult? So the face-to-face event day as a whole, it's a whole experience. There's several parts to it. And the reason why in my videos I try not to give so much detail is because I want you to have the whole experience. I don't want you to go in knowing what to expect, because it doesn't make the experience as wholesome as it should be. But if you're talking specifically about the one-on-one interview or the face-to-face itself, because in that process, the event day as a whole, you're going to have a moment where it's an actual like one-on-one interview, you and an interviewer in a room where you're getting interviewed, right? For me, I personalized the experience. As an interviewee, I made the whole experience more conversational. So I made it apparent that genuinely I wanted to know what the realities of the jobs were. The questions were not difficult. That is why in my video on how to get your CJO at the event day, I spoke about the fact that using the STAR method to answer the questions. The truth, the questions are maybe because I've had several interviews, so I've gone through several interviews throughout my work life, but they're normal questions. If you've worked before, you would have stories to share. I've always had stories to share because I've done customer facing roles forever. So I have experiences like difficult moments, difficult team members, resolving a situation, like things like that, you know? And be honest with your experience. I think what made me successful is the fact that I know I talk a lot. So using the STAR method allows me to structure my responses. The questions are not hard. They are not hard. But one thing I also want people to note is that just as you might work with a team member that you might not gel with, you might have somebody interview you and they might not connect with you. Because even though the interviewer has like a whole list of questions they're supposed to ask you and then what they're supposed to look out for, there's like a perimeter in which they're supposed to follow to make it as objective as possible. There is, to a large extent, some subjectivity to it as well. Their connection with you or their feedback on you would have some level of bias from their part, and that bias can be good or bad, or it can go, I won't say good or bad, can go against you or can be for you, in the sense that you might interview with somebody and you guys connect, like it literally turns into a conversation where it's more like you're talking instead of I'm asking you this and you're responding to this. I had that feeling with my video interview where I felt like the person was just, I didn't connect well with that person. I mean, obviously I still went to the next level, but I felt that during my video interview where it just felt like the person was just asking me like questions and there was no connection there. But during the in-person interview, during the event day, I connected with the person. First of all, they were a flight attendant like what I wanted to be. The people that are flight attendants, aside from people from talent management and the hiring crew. So I connected with them and I genuinely wanted to know, like, hey, weekends, working on weekends, holiday, how is the schedule like? What kind of trips, like what base are you based? So I would ask them questions as well. So it was more like a conversation. So I didn't really give them the opportunity to make the whole process boring or so strict where it's just following the process. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Whenever they would ask me a question, I would answer. I would ask them a question too, even though at the end of it all, they would ask you if you have any questions or whatever. Like my interview took some time. Like the section that I was with, everybody was done with their in-person interview. They had to come call me out, like call us out to figure out if it was over or not. That was because I made it conversational. I was genuinely asking questions. I was like, hey, so how long have you been based where you are? How long did it take you to move to the base that you wanted? How many bases have you moved in and out of? How easy is it to move from base to base? We're working on weekends. Of how many hours are you typically scheduled a month? So I genuinely, like, maybe that's what helped, because I didn't go in with an agenda. I genuinely wanted to know more about the job as a whole. So maybe that honesty transcended and it worked. But definitely connect with the person you're interviewing with. Try and see if you have a genuine connection with them, and then also be honest, be true to yourself. But I do have a video on how to become a flight attendant, how to get your CJO, on my channel as well. It's part of my playlist. Once again, if you're hopping in, my name is Priscilla. I am a new Seattle-based flight attendant. I'm not even sure if I can say that anymore. Working with a major US airline company, and in today's video, I am sharing my experience of being on the line for 6 months. So when you come in, drop a comment in the comment section below, ask your questions, and then also tap on the like button. You must like the video. It's critical to our survival here. All right, moving on. We already spoke about negative energy. The other thing that I did want to talk about is that the trips that you will get. So keep in mind that as a new flight attendant, or when you get on the line for the first time, you might not get the trips that you want. Or depending on where you're based, the places where you would love to travel to might not be offered at your base. Like for me, like I've always said, I'm from Accra, Ghana. I'm from Ghana. So I chose an airline company that had direct flights from the US to Accra. However, my base does not fly to Accra. There are no trips from Accra, from Seattle to Accra. So even though I like my base, I wish we had those trips, because then it would be easy for me if I'm non-revenue or whatever, you know. But I know the airline as a whole has it, so it doesn't matter. But what I would want to say is that even when it comes to bidding for your trips, for example, you might not always get what you want. You might bid for those international trips. You might bid for Athens. You might bid for Rome. You might bid for wherever it is that you want in the world, but you might not get it because you're not senior enough to get it. But mind you that if you're new to the industry, this industry is seniority driven. So the more you stay with the company and essentially prove your loyalty, the more you get at the end of the day. So when I do my video and I'm talking about our flight attendant pay, the people that are earning that amount, the $10,000 a month, the $11,000, the $12,000 a month, are people that have been there for years. They've put in their time. Okay, so it's not right out the gate you're going to be making that kind of money. You essentially, the longer you stay, the more you gain from the organization or the company as a whole, and the more privileges you get as a whole as well. So definitely keep that in mind. But people tend to forget, and they just assume that they're going to get everything right from start. But it is hard for some new hires, especially if you have to commute. You might not get the trips that you want. You might not get the days off that you want. You also have to be flexible in the sense that if you want weekends off for a specific reason, and you know deep within your heart that those specific reasons or those specific goals or plans you have for that weekend can be achieved on a business day, why not settle for that? So I do get it. People have kids, people have family, people have things to do, places to go, events to attend. But I am all for making life easy for me. So I would always choose the easy way out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But just know that you won't get the trips that you want. You might want Hawaii every single week. You might not get it. You might want Paris every single week. You might not get it. Honestly, at my base, depending on the season we're in, sometimes certain trips become like non-existent. Not because we don't offer those trips or those trips don't exist. It's because there's only a select few that are working it. So the new person like me is never going to get access to those trips. So it is what it is. You just have to figure out if I can't get the trips that I want, then I might as well just take a vacation or something. I don't know. But then again, not everybody can afford to do so. So I would say, figure out what you want. Do you want to make money, or do you want to enjoy your layovers? If you feel that this month you're not going to be able to enjoy your layovers, then aim for the trips that would make you good money. That's all. Because there are moments when there's so many trips. Like during summer, TOs are there, international trips are there. You can pick up, swap, and do all that good stuff. They're readily available because there's a lot and people are trying to enjoy their summer, so they probably don't want to go to work. And in the moment when those things are not available, just either take a vacation, take a trip for yourself, spend time, have some me time, or consider working trips that would make you money. Just maximize your time that way instead of focusing on enjoying the layover as well. But yeah, you're definitely not going to be getting the trips that you want. It's a given. The industry is is seniority driven. So if you're not senior enough, you might not get the good stuff. And I know it gets annoying because that's a huge con. I know it gets annoying to know that only select few people are working certain trips, and it becomes annoying. But imagine you being as senior as they are and you having those privileges and taking advantage of those privileges or utilizing those privileges. So it's going to be you one time. So at some point, so keep that in mind for sure. Renelle said, where did your personality come from the most? I would say, I think I got it from both. So I'm very like present and all that, but I also know how to remove myself and I know how to turn off. That's me. You either get the best or the worst. I guess that's the way to put it. No, that's not the way to put it. I think it's more so just building confidence, For me, I would say both, because they both have like personalities and traits that has helped me become successful or put me in the position that I am right now. And I know somebody asked me some time back, like, how did I get so confident or whatever, or like be so articulate or being able to put myself out there like this. I think it just comes with time. I've always been that person that was willing to do anything just to, if we need to work, we're working. If we need to pull it out, get out of the mud, we're getting out of the mud. I've never been, I wouldn't say I'm not a shy person, but I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I don't know. But I think it was both, because my mom is very, very like, she's strong-minded, very like, she has a strong personality, I would say. And my dad is more so the laid back person that's like more chill. So, and I know how to switch between both. I know when to be all out there and I know when to just reel it back in and just calm down and just take a chill pill. So I guess with me, you just get the best of both worlds, But it's just being confident. I think the more you do, because most people say, how do I be you have to put yourself out there. And I guess for me, I'm not afraid of rejection or disappointment. I understand that is part of life, or at this point I understand it's part of life, so I don't let it get to me. So I just put myself out there. Plus, I see negative feedback as a learning opportunity. Obviously there are people that are like simply just very negative, and we're just gonna empty the trash on that note. But I personally don't let that get to me. But in terms of the confidence and whatever, it's more so just exposing myself. I've always been that person that want to engage in activities, even in school or wherever I find myself. And I'm not afraid to take up responsibilities, even though I would not want to. But if it happens, I do it. So I guess that's where that comes from. Renelle says, you have to be a palm tree in the airline industry. Never say never, because you might get it on the swap board. Exactly, that is true. The trip you really want when your seniority goes higher. Exactly. So it's definitely possible, but I know it does get to people, because when it feels like you have to struggle to get something when it really shouldn't be the case. But I would always say, in moments like that, just figure out what your why is, or what benefits can you get out of this. Okay, maybe I can't get the Paris that I want, maybe I can't get the Athens that I want, but what else can I get that's close enough? Hawaii, is it good enough? Can I get that? Or if I can't get that now, can I get a good trip that's going to make me good money? So just balance it out. But it is what it is. When you do get the job, though, I will say, try as much as possible to enjoy it. Definitely enjoy the moment, enjoy the downtime and everything. Like, enjoy it. And if you feel that you're not getting the trips that you want, you can also work it such that you're working less and doing something else outside of the job, because this is something you can do for your lifetime, you know. And there are people that are super senior that are not flying as much. They're still part of the company, they're still employees, but they have the luxury of not flying as much and just doing their own thing on the side as well. So definitely don't underestimate that. The one and only SK says, how did you feel about CQ, and congratulations on your 6 month. CQ was great. Thank you for the congrats. CQ was great. CQ was initially, when I was going, I had mixed feelings about it because of how my training experience was, but CQ as a whole was pretty chill, and I feel like so much was happening at the same time that it did not feel as difficult or stressful as training was. I will say that do your e-learnings or whatever. Definitely prep yourself, bring food, but go with an open mind. Don't go out there feeling defeated already. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. But CQ was great. I'm glad it's every 18 months though, because I don't like going back to the training setting. I think it's because of how training was set up. No hard feelings, but I just don't want to go through it again. I just don't. But it was good. It was a good one. It's not difficult at all. So if you're about to go for your CQ, don't be scared. Don't be worried. It's good. It's a good experience. So definitely keep that in mind for sure. It was okay. I went to the Salt Lake City one though, so I don't know how the Atlanta one is, but I know the Salt Lake City one was pretty chill. So it's pretty good. It was pretty good. Once again, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Don't stalk us. Don't be here stalking us. Like the video and drop a comment. All right, so if you're just jumping in, I'm sharing my experience for being a flight attendant for the past 6 months, how it's going, things that I have learned and all of that, and if I really like the job. If I really like the job. The other thing I do want to talk about is pay once again. I know I brought it up earlier, but the pay overall, it's okay, it's good. Obviously it could be better. I'm not gonna say it's amazing and it's perfect, but it's good enough. And I will say that most of the time, people that talk about the pay being low, not being good enough, blah blah blah, as I've always said, it depends on the airline you're working with, how you're spending your money, if you're commuting or not, if you already have debt, or if you have like if you already have pressure on your money. So as a whole, I would say it's okay. It is okay. And it's a good start for sure, knowing that it gets better. Because as I said in my other video when I was talking about pay, I talked to people that have been in the industry for a long time, like those that have capped out, those that are in their 5th year, 6th year pay, or those that are getting their maximum right now, and just try to pick their brains just to figure out, like, you know, if it's really worth it, if it's really worth spending 20 years here. Like, am I going to be earning a good amount that makes sense after a while? And it makes sense. And if I talk to somebody and they tell me, like, if they structure their trips good enough, every 2 weeks they're making about $6,000, that's pretty good. And they're not even doing the most, they're not doing anything crazy or anything. But all I will say with regards to pay is that if you really want to make money, you do have the potential to make money. That's what I can say. Because I know people that fly back to back. They work back to back because they're trying to earn as much as possible. And if you also want to just enjoy the freedom of having a flexible schedule, to be able to take care of your kids, spend time with your family, you can do that with this job as well. If you're new, I'm a flight attendant with a major U.S. airline company. I am not with a regional. I'm not doing 4 legs, 5 legs on a daily. It's not the norm, at least for my days. So everybody's quality of flying is different, because our trips are built such that we have like a good amount of legs per day. I've had day trips where they were worth over 20 hours and I wasn't even doing, they were worth 20 hours or more and I wasn't even doing 3 legs a day. So in any of the days. So keep that in mind. The geography of your base matters as well. Imagine doing Seattle to New York, New York to Orlando, Seattle to New York, New York to Miami, Miami to Seattle, and then Seattle to LA. Like, you see what I'm talking about? The distance, the hours, all that, it adds up real quickly. It adds up real quickly, and it adds value to your trip as well. So that's what that is. But then again, one thing that trumps everything is if you live at base. Because if you live at base, then even if the trip bill is bad or the rotation is not good credit, you live at base. You don't have to commute. I feel like that makes a huge difference. So definitely keep that in mind as well. David, yes, David said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are full of energy and enthusiasm, and I love it. Yes, gotta come with the positive energy here. You do you, never change. You're absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much. Herman says, indeed, Miss P is such such a credit to Daddy D. Oh my God. I really enjoy working in this industry. It's been great. It really has been great. The last thing that I did want to share today is that, as you all saw, I did travel back to Accra. And I know Herman has been asking questions. I did go back home after working with the company, or after switching jobs to work with this industry, using my travel benefits. And I did share a video on me jump sitting and everything, and going through the process of using my benefits to travel outside of the United States, going specifically to Accra, Ghana. And overall, like I said in that video, it was a smooth experience. It was good. My only thing was the fact that, because so the way our benefits work is that even though we get to fly for free, it's based on the seats that become available on the aircraft. So let's say today there's a flight from Seattle to New York, right? And I want to travel using my benefits. Yes, I work with the airline. I have benefits that allows me to travel for free. However, if the airline is in business to make profit, so if they sell all the seats on that particular flight, me using my benefits to travel for free, I won't be able to get on that aircraft unless I book the jump seat. But assuming I want a normal passenger seat and I'm non-revving, that's how it works. So when you're using the benefits, your seat is not guaranteed. As a flight attendant, obviously I can book the jump seat. That's when my seat is guaranteed. But if you're traveling for leisure, you probably do not want to be stuck on a chair that we sit in to work, because that chair is not comfortable. And you can't sleep in it as well. So the baseline is that it's based on the seats that are available on the flight. That's the whole thing. And it's not like, oh, technically you can't just get up and just get on a plane and just go wherever it is you want to go. But there's so many other factors that counts that you have to consider as well. And I know sometimes people don't talk about it that much. They make it seem like it's that simple, but it really isn't that simple. So keep that in mind. But I did go to Accra. I did enjoy myself. It was nice to be home. It was really nice to be home, to meet family, and the fact that I was able to do this out of a whim. Like, I literally just woke up in September and was like, you know what? Let me move things around in October so I can travel. And I only came back earlier than I did because I swapped out of a few trips from November to October. So that's why. But it was good. It was a good experience. It was good to be home. I actually got my hair done there. If you've been on my channel, you know I always have my signature afro look, but I did lock my hair. So these are sister locks. So I did lock my hair, and I did it because I wanted to travel more, and I wanted to have the freedom with my hair and not have to worry about it. Because I'm tender-headed. So when I braid my hair, my head hurts. But yes, it was great to be back home. So stay tuned for more videos about that trip. And definitely share your feedback, because I'm still trying to figure out a comfortable way of documenting my layovers or my trips and stuff like that. So I'm still learning, and I'm still a work in progress. So definitely stay tuned for those. Any questions about my trips, y'all? Any questions about my trips? Vernell says, do you see yourself as an instructor in the future? Oh my God, I have had this said to me all the time, but I really don't, Vernell. I think I've been scarred from leading people. From being a manager, I have been scarred. I feel like I've been traumatized. I don't. I love the idea, but I don't think so. I see this job, and every time I see this, people are like, you're so young and you're talking like you're so old. But that's the thing. I see this job more like a retirement package for me. A job that I can choose to do more or less if I want to. A job that gives me the benefit of being able to travel internationally and domestically as well. And that's how I see it. And the fact that there isn't a retirement age or anything, I'm down for that. Like, I really am down for that. I don't know. That's a really good question. Like you said, Renelle, never say never. So I'm not going to say I would never ever do it. However, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say I do look forward to doing it. I think I've been scarred. I really think I've been scarred. So yeah, that's the end of it. Oh, not the end. My other thing is that after traveling back home, right? And after assessing everything, the only one SK says, are you still happy in Seattle? Do you still think about transferring to New York? I do. I really do still think about transferring to New York. And it actually became more apparent when I traveled home recently. I'm actually at the point where I probably want to get to the level where I live in Accra, Ghana, and then I commute to New York for work. So that's the point where I am. That's what I'm considering doing right now. I want to get to the point where I live in Accra and then I fly to work and in in New York. So that's where I am right now. I don't know. I'm still considering it, but I only want to do New York because of the diversity of the layover destinations. And if I want to travel all over the world, New York is the base to be. Even though the credits might not be similar to what I'm used to in Seattle, but I feel like I would have the opportunity to go to other places. Plus, it's easier to travel from there because if I'm traveling to Accra, for example, I have to go from Seattle to JFK, JFK to Accra. But if I'm based in New York, or let's say I lived in New York, for example, then it's just a one trip. It's just me literally going to the airport, getting my butt on a plane, and going to Accra. So the travel is better. So that's what I'm considering. I'm definitely looking to highly considering transferring to New York. I do plan on trying it for like a month or 3 months, like doing that temporary base transfer just to fill it out a bit. But I love the energy of the crew members as well. When I flew with them, they were so nice, so positive, so young at heart. It was definitely a nice vibe. I liked it. But I also do not want to live in New York. I think that's the hurdle for me. I don't want to live in New York, but I want to be based in New York. And if I'm going to commute anywhere, I would rather want to commute from an international destination. I wouldn't want to live in the United States, commuting in the United States, because the standard of living here is higher, and it would cost me more money living in Seattle, commuting to New York. That 5-hour flight, the whole back and forth, it's just going to be a lot more. Even though commuting from Accra to New York is like a 10.5-hour flight, but I feel like if I live in Accra, then I don't have to work a lot because the standard of living there is cheaper compared to Seattle, at least. So yeah, I'm definitely considering. Herman says that is a major revelation. Yes, that's the goal. That was actually my final thing I wanted to share. After doing this for 6 months, I'm definitely at the point where I am highly considering moving to New York. I'm moving to Accra, and then commuting from Accra to JFK to work. So yeah, that's the huge revelation right there. Like it is. That's what I'm considering right now. That's where my thoughts and my feelings are, because I always wanted to be based in New York. I just chose Seattle out of convenience, and it's been great. So the one and only SK says, for sure, smart, good luck. Thank you so much, y'all. Final questions. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, I do plan on creating an exclusive like chat or members only content and stuff like that, where we can have like one-on-one actual conversation, where we can talk about things that we can't talk about things. Okay, so do become a member. The button is on my page. When you get to my page, become a member, support your girl. One of the ways by which you can support the channel is by becoming a member of the channel. Okay, so you subscribe, then you join to become a member. It's that simple. But yes, I do also plan on traveling a lot more, probably on my own time. I don't know, I'm still trying to fill things out, but definitely watch the content, share the videos, support your girl. And yeah, I appreciate you all. Like, I started this channel at the beginning of the year, and I'm already almost at 2,000 subscribers. It's been amazing. I did not expect this growth at all. Obviously, it can be faster and quicker, but we're not complaining here, okay? We're not complaining here. But it's definitely been great. I do appreciate my day ones. I know. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for supporting me. Any more questions? Wow, David says, wow, do New York. You will love it. Let me see. You would love it, and you will make so much more dollars. That's true. That's true. So I am definitely considering New York for sure. That's the goal. That would be the dream, to be able to live in Ghana and then fly to New York to work. That's like the ultimate dream for me. That way I'm with family, with friends, you know, and then also I'll be able to share my experience with you all, being a flight attendant that lives in Accra, Ghana, in Africa, in West Africa, and flying back and forth to work. So, and then that would give me a commuting experience as well. So that's definitely the goal. When I went home, I missed it so much. I enjoyed myself. I didn't do a lot. I didn't do anything too crazy, but it's just a sense of community and just being at home with people, you know. It was just a different vibe. I enjoyed it. So that's the dream. Thank you all for coming through. If you've been here since the beginning, we're already 1 hour and 38 minutes in. I appreciate you all. Final thoughts and questions before I skip. Herman says, thank you so much for chatting. Yes, I'm gonna try. Now that I'm back from the trip, I'm still trying to edit the videos that I have, so I'm gonna try and start doing more live. Hey, Susie! Oh my God, Susie's a flight attendant, y'all. Susie's a flight attendant. She's my maid. She was my class. Hey, Susie. You guys say hi to Susie. Susie was from my class. Oh my God, friend, miss you. How was Paris? You need to share that information. You need to meet me in the DMs, because I need to know how Paris was. Hey, Susie, hope you're doing great. Thanks for coming into the live. Thank you. Brunel says, give yourself a couple of months for that. Transferring to New York can be you. Be in Seattle in the winter and then New York in the summer, if that's possible. Yeah, I've heard about that. And that's a thing. So it's just because they're so far apart. Because the end goal for me is essentially to live in Accra, Ghana. So it's more so, if Seattle and New York were closed, then I could easily just remain where I'm based and then just do the back and forth, be based here one time, be based here, and all that. But it's just that where I want to live is a huge factor for me as well. And knowing that, and this is one of the benefits of the job, knowing that you can live anywhere in the world. There are people that live in Paris that commute to the US to work all the time. And there are people in Amsterdam, there are people living in Europe that commute to the United States to work their flights and to do their job. So that's the flexibility of the job and one of the perks of the job. All right, you're welcome, David. Thank you for coming through. My day ones, everybody. Thank you all so much. Susie, you definitely came towards the end of the live, but I do appreciate the support. We need to work a trip. I need to find you, Susie. Let's meet in the DMs. But thank you all so much. I would definitely try and be more consistent with my live videos for sure. And if you do have any questions, feel free to drop in the comment section below. Do not hesitate to ask me. I am here for you all as you are here for me. Share the video, share the channel. The goal is to hit 2K by the end of the month. Yes, let's just make it happen. By the stacks and by the analytics, I should hit it by December. But if it happens sooner, why not? But share the content for sure and share the videos. I missed the jump seat question. So yeah, jump seating. I don't know what was the question. What was it? Me jump seating? I think I was talking about non-revenant or flight benefits and how it works. So I was just essentially saying that with the way our flight benefits work, even though you fly for free, it's based on the seats that are available on the aircraft for that flight. So if you want to go from Seattle to New York, for example, and that particular flight happens to get sold out, then you're not getting a seat, even though you're trying to use your flight benefits. The seats on those flights are not guaranteed for you when you're using your flight benefit, essentially. So sometimes you're forced to jump seat because, as a flight attendant, because I'm trained on these aircraft or licensed to work on those aircraft, I do have the ability as a flight attendant to book the jump seat, which guarantees my seat on the flight. Can you go to first class if... So yes, the way jump seating works is that the reason why I do that is because it guarantees my seat on the flight, right? But once the boarding door closes, if there are empty seats in first class, if there are empty seats in main cabin, wherever the empty seats are, you can sit in it. However, I have heard that with some airlines, if you're using your flight benefits to fly, you have to pay a certain amount to be placed on the upgrade list for you to be able to sit in first class or whatever. But I don't know how it would work if you book the jump seat and then the doors close and there happen to be a seat in first class. Personally, if I'm a crew member and a fellow flight attendant booked a jump seat and there's a seat available in first class, I'm giving you that seat. We're part of a team here. You're taking that seat. But more so, the jump seating the only person that can jump seat is the person that's trained on the aircraft, essentially. So I did hear that with some airlines you can't. If you book the jump seat, you sit in the jump seat. Or to get an upgrade to first class, you have to pay something for it. But for my airline and where I work, once you're non-revenant and you're using your flight benefits, you're automatically on the upgrade list. So if it's a first class seats are available or business class or whatever, you can get it if it's available. Yes, there are no restrictions, but I know it's not like that for every aircraft and every airline. Yes. Alex says, yes, that's not for our airlines. Exactly. So mine is fair game. We all have the opportunity for that. So it definitely helps. You're welcome, Joy. Thank you so much for contributing, Alex, and coming in. Any more questions? Are we done? We're good. We're about to check out. Thank you all for coming through. Once again, I do appreciate you all. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and tap on that subscribe button. Also, become a member as well. Support the channel. Thank you all. Are my parents still there? Yes, my parents are in Ghana. Like my dad was living, we were here at some point, but my dad was the one that has been here the longest, and he's retired. They're like retired back home now, so they're living their best life. It's just something about being in Ghana. Like the people there are very laid back. It's very chill. It's just a sense of community that you have there, and it's just chill. I know I have another channel where I do plan on talking about things like this, but I do know there are people there that do really want to live in the United States, but it's one of those things where the people there want to come here and those of us who are here want to go there. So I guess we can just switch lives. But it was good being back home for sure. I enjoyed it. And like I said, the big revelation is that I do plan to eventually get to the point where I live there and I work in the US. So fingers crossed for me. Thank you all so much for coming through for the live. Once again, thank you. I am checking out. Stay tuned for my vlogs and my videos from Accra. Miss you already. Chat was great. All right, Joy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye, y'all. Thank you. Bye.